Welcome to Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and every week I'll share with you a tale and ancient wisdom of the native tribes of North America. I'll be joined by my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, who will undoubtedly make their presence known at some point, so I might as well just list them as co-host. We hope you'll enjoy the tales and wisdom, raise your vibration, and enrich your life with us every week. Greetings, friends. I'm Jay Idle. Welcome back to the 9th installment of Tales from the First Nations. I'm pretty excited about today's story because it combines two of my favorite things: trees and maple syrup. So let's just dive in there and start with the one thing that we're all thinking about right now: kangaroos. No, I'm kidding. We're thinking of maple syrup over pancakes or possibly waffles. And it's pretty awesome, right? I feel like the world needs more things for us to put maple syrup on. Waffles and pancakes. It's just not enough. That's why I support maple syrup on ice cream. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the good stuff. Right there. Now, I know that some people put maple syrup in their coffee, and I'm not one to judge, but I prefer my coffee black without sweeteners, so I'll keep mine on the breakfast waffles, pancakes, and ice cream. And wait, can we do ice cream for breakfast if we put maple syrup on it? I mean, that seems like something worth exploring. Let's look into this, shall we? I think that's I think that works. There's milk in there, and there's maple syrup. I think that makes a breakfast. That's my official ruling right here. Now, the other thing that I love is trees. Trees are so magnificent. They are the keepers of the earth and the holders of the balance, and I love them. And maple trees are super cool too. When I was a kid, we had a silver maple tree in our backyard, and it was quite large. My dad put a tire swing on it, and as a kid, my brothers and I had so much fun swinging on that thing. I remember that when my dad first hung it, it hadn't occurred to him to drill holes in the bottom of it. So after every rainstorm, it filled with water, and then when we played on it, we got wet butts. But eventually, he put some holes in the bottom of it to let the water drain out, and then everything was awesome. It was fun and dry. Those were the good old days, huh? Yeah. Oh well, she couldn't give us maple syrup, but she was a great tree, and she gave us a great childhood. Maple trees are also very spiritual. In addition, several traditions of the First Nations people, to them, the maple tree symbolizes balance and harmony with nature. So when you see one, let it serve as a reminder of our interconnectedness, not only with each other, but with the natural world. The maple tree's energy can also help infuse you with a sense of balance, grounding, and inner peace. So the next time you see one, stop and pause with it to reflect on some of the things and manifest them into your life. You can sit with them and meditate. You can just go over and just touch them. And it just feels great to be around trees. So go ahead, find a maple tree, thank it for the syrup. Tell them that you put it on your ice cream for breakfast. It'll be great. So, now let's see, we've nourished your craving for syrup and the soul, so I think it's time we look at an Ojibway legend about why maple syrup is so challenging to make. A very long time ago, when the world was new, the Great Spirit, Gitchi Manitou, made things so that life was easy for the people. There was plenty of game, and the weather was always good, and the maple trees were filled with thick, sweet syrup. Well, one day, Manabozho, who could be a trickster god, went walking around. He said, I think I'll go see how my friends, the Anishinaabe, are doing, he said. So he went to their village, but he found it was deserted. Wherever he looked, he couldn't find anyone. Anywhere. Manabozho looked everywhere he could think of, but there was no sign of the people anywhere. They were not fishing in the streams or the lake. They were not working in the fields, hoeing their crops. They were not gathering berries. They were nowhere. Finally, he found them. They were in the grove of maple trees near the village. They were just lying on their backs, with their mouths open, letting maple syrup drip into their mouths. "Oh, ho, ho, this will not do," Manabozho said. "My people are all going to be fat and lazy if they keep living this way." So he went down to the river. He took with him a big basket he'd made of birch bark. With the basket, he brought back many buckets of water, and then he climbed to the top of the maple trees and poured water in. He poured in so much water that it thinned out the syrup. Suddenly, the nice, thick, magical, sweet, delicious maple syrup that had dripped out of the broken twigs was replaced by a thin, watery liquid that barely tasted sweet at all. "This is how it will be from now on," Manabozho said. "No longer will syrup drip from the maple trees. Now there will only be this watery sap. When the people want to make maple syrup, they have to gather many buckets full of the sap in a birch bark basket like mine. They will have to gather wood and make fires so they can heat stones to drop into the baskets. They will have to boil the water with the heated stones for a long time to make even a little maple syrup. Then my people will no longer grow fat and lazy. Then they will appreciate this maple syrup Gitchi-Manitou has made available to them. Not only that, but the sap will drip only from the trees at certain times of the year. Then it will not keep people from hunting and fishing and gathering and hoeing in the fields. This is how it's going to be," Manabozho said. And that is how it is to this day. All right, I have to say, I understand why they would lay under the trees and let it just drip into their mouths. That sounds amazing, and it sounds a lot like my childhood fantasy, and I kind of want to do that this afternoon. But as my friend always says, this is why we can't have nice things. The harder you work for something, the more you appreciate it, right? So although our lives are so simple now that we can just go to the supermarket or order online and then have it arrive in our home, so I guess we could recreate this amazing experience if we could afford it, right? You could find a rich friend who could just stand above you in a tree and drizzle maple syrup down into your open mouth. Yeah. Now you've got plans for the weekend. I offer my thanks to you for joining me on my journey and on this podcast. And for more great stories and legends, check out the Jaguar Bird channel on YouTube. There's a lot of really great stuff on there that I think you're going to really like. And of course, join me next week for another story right here on Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and I'll talk to you next time. The opening and closing music is provided by my dear friend Scott Brocklesby, and our podcast image was provided by Mark Lawton, who is also my dear friend. I never used dear friend for him, but he is still my dear friend, and I appreciate the picture. So we will see you next time. All right, that's it. How'd we do, Dawa?
Awesome.
Phones? Excellent. Then I'll share it.